Okay, guys, we are live. Well, we're not live, but welcome back to
Well,
sort of. Welcome back to Let's Get Freaky podcast. I am super excited to welcome our guest tonight. We have got Natasha from Cryptid Creeps and Conspiracy podcast. Natasha, welcome to Let's Get Freaky.
hello, hello. So yeah, I don't know when this is coming out, but to all your listeners, I'm sorry because I was really good and I thought you were going to be coming out on my episode for this coming week. And then I realized when I went to do a recording that I totally forgot about Halloween being next week.
Oh, I do that all the time. Don't
Aside,
worry about
every day is Halloween with me.
that.
So that's good. But I was like, oh crap. I was like, well, so I ended up doing one on like the history of Halloween. So
That's
it's
cool.
I don't know, in a few weeks. So for your listeners, you will be on my show.
Yeah. Yes, and we had a good time. We had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was good fun.
Oh yeah, my spirit box was lovely. Ooh, do we need to inform your people?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. So you do something a little bit different.
Yes.
You have got paranormal equipment around you, and
Yes.
things go off. Things were going off when we last spoke. There was
Yep.
things happening. I was like, "There's a light in the corner going off," and you're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's just
That's fine. So-
that's just Jeff."
oh, there goes the ghost.
Oh,
Hi.
now that's wild. Now that's wild. Oh
They're
my
like, hi, it's
gosh,
me.
I just got
That might be
goosebumps.
Philip. I'm not sure. There was one, I put them close together. So it may be Philip, but it might be another one.
That's wild. I mean, that's not. I mean, that did
Oh,
go
and
off
by the
before we
way,
started recording,
again,
but
I can't even reach back there if I want to.
yeah.
And on the other side of it is a brick wall. So for anybody who's like, oh yeah, whatever. No, literally, it's just a brick wall back
Yeah.
there. So, and I can't do anything.
Wow.
It's
There's
like
no
me
there's no
grabbing.
dude under the desk with a
No, well, I wish
like
there was a dude at my desk.
that's a wild.
Yeah.
How mad is that? We spoke about it as well, and if it
Mhm.
goes off. And that was happening when we was recording on your
Yeah.
show. And I was like, whoa. I mean, I've had things happen around me, like,
Yeah.
but I've got no lights. I don't invite it really. But it does
Well,
happen.
mine happen all the time, whether they're invited or not.
Yeah.
So, at least now I know they're here.
Yeah.
They're actually pretty interactive. We've actually had to stop episodes. Like I've been in the middle of recording with someone and we have stopped everything we're doing and actually got my spirit box turned on and was having a conversation with it. Like, well, I don't know if it was that one in particular, but I've had a
Oh,
conversation with some of them. And we've just been like a 5, 10 minute little like yes, no questionnaire. And
that's well, we can do that today if it happens. We
oh
can
my
do that.
gosh,
We can
can
have
I
a go at
tell you the
that.
story?
Of course.
No, they'll hear it on my episode. I don't remember when. Uh, who knows? Because I record it a bunch and then I send them out one at a time. So I might have recorded something 3 months ago, but it's not going to come out till
Yeah.
next week. And then by
Yeah.
then, I don't know what's going on.
Hmm.
Uh,
You're like me. I lose track of time,
yes.
so I don't put the episodes out as I record them. There might be like a few
Yeah, me
weeks in it
neither.
or whatever.
Or I'll be
Um,
like, get all my notes. I spend time, get the notes put up, and then I schedule a bunch of recordings,
yeah.
and then I just stockpile. And then
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, now I can just edit and send it out, edit, send it out. So that's a little bit more
Hmm.
control for me because I
Yeah.
have issues. But so I was at work, and this is gonna be on one of my episodes, but it works out so good. I tell people all the time, I don't live in a haunted house because it's not the house that's haunted. It's me. It's been like that my whole life. Literally, things have followed me from house to house to house. Either the same type of things are happening in every single house, and I'm really good at picking creepy houses that do the exact same thing, or the more logical choice is that it's something following me.
Yeah.
And I mean, out here in the studio, at work. I mean, I could be in my car. I have sat in my car with my spirit box on because I'm like, there's something in here with me. I can feel it. And it's like started just going nuts in my car. So two things. P.S. I still use cars. Hi. And I got in a vehicle the other day, turned it on, went to move it. I just needed to shift it to another spot in the lot. And I'm like, okay, so I cruise it over there. And all of a sudden it's like, bing, bing, check rear for passenger. Something was in the back of this car telling me to
Whoa.
look. Like it was like it's like a safety. I guess they started doing it whenever people were leaving babies in their cars because they're idiots.
Hmm.
But something was enough in this car to trigger the sensor to go off, and I'm like, and I look, nothing. There's nothing in it. I have no idea. It's done it to me twice in the same car. but nobody else
Wow.
had any problems with it. Then, just last week, I was at my desk and I was talking to a coworker, and they were kind of like looking off to the side. And all of a sudden, I mean, this man, I mean, he is not soft. I mean, he is a tough, I mean, just I 1,000,000% know that if anything were to happen, he's got my back. And immediately it was like his face just got like just white. And I mean, his expression was just like really concerned. And of course, there's me, and for everybody who doesn't know me yet, I usually know when there's things around. A lot of times I know when things are around. And I immediately knew. And I'm like, oh God, it's behind me, isn't it? So it was like off to the side in our manager's office. Now, again, this is not me. I only felt it. But the look on his face was just, I mean, just whitewashed. And he's like, oh, and I just got really big goosebumps. He's like, there's a man in the office. He goes, I just saw him. He goes, out of the corner of my eye, he was like, there was a man. Like it peeked out from behind the door
Mhm.
and looked. And it was almost like it was looking at me, like it was watching me, like it was peeking, like keeping an eye on me or something. And then it's like it
Oh,
realized that he looked and then it bolted back behind the door. The door was when I say it looked behind the door was open and it was against a wall. So there was no one, we were the only ones in there. Two, there's no way that anybody could have even hid in there if they wanted to because it was literally like an inch gap between
yeah.
where this thing popped its head out and went back.
Did he
And
see
he
it like a shadow figure, or was it
that is
like a?
so weird. He's like, "Oh my God, there's a man in here," and I was just like, "It's fine."
Yeah.
He goes, another person said, "Let me guess, man, probably around 5'8", 5'10", kind of balding older guy, glasses." He's like, "How the hell did you know that?" I'm like, "I just know."
Wow.
Like,
So
okay, this is weird.
that was a full-bodied apparition that he
Yeah,
saw.
and it wasn't just me. And then another time, I had another witness, a door across from me, and it's an old like brass door handle. So I mean, it's noisy. It's an old building, and I could hear it turning, and then it clicked. So I was assuming there was a customer. So I look up, and if you guys, I don't know how it is where you guys are at, but over here in, the US, uh, everything's just glass windows. So I could see if anybody was even, screwing with me, I would have been able
Mhm.
to see them. And I look up and I hear the door, and I'm like, there's nothing there. And the door just starts to open, just real slow, like somebody's just walking in. My boss, who was in the room, stood up and was like, why haven't you greeted them? And I'm like, greet who? And so he looks over and he's watching the door just open. There's nobody there. And he was like, you need to keep the shit at home.
Man,
So,
do you get blamed a lot? Are they like,
yes,
Natasha, what are you bringing
there's
into this
been
place?
the lights have flickered. I've had the table in the break room. It's like this old wooden table with three, like one base with three legs at the bottom.
Yeah.
And it's a heavy, sturdy table. Like you can't just shake it. It's not wobbly. And I set something on it and went to pour it like a drink in my cup, and the whole table just was like vibrating, like big time shaking. And I was like, come on. I was like, I'm just trying to get some OJ here, okay? I was like, just so I picked up my cup, poured the OJ, set it down, and it stopped. I've been in there, and the one light that was only above me, out of all the fluorescent lights in the room, the one above me went out.
Yeah.
And then it started flickering, and he's like, that's weird. Because I was talking to somebody, they're like, it doesn't seem right, does it? I'm like, that's fine.
It's just me.
Yeah, they've heard footsteps of people that like it sounds like it's walking towards my desk in another room, and they're like freaking out because again, I know that if anything's gonna happen, they have my back at work.
Hmm.
Like these
Yeah.
dudes are not afraid to take something down
Yeah.
to protect us. And I'm like, there's nobody in there. The door's locked. I locked it, and there's nobody in there. And they still, because they swore they heard it, they got up, unlocked the door because even when they got to it, it was locked. They unlocked it, opened it, and it was still an empty room.
Man.
And they're like, I know someone was walking in there. I was like, it's fine. But I was like, and then something else happened the other day, and I was like, hello. And they're like, who are you talking to? I was like, oh, this over here. Because something had like moved. And I was like, yeah, it's fine.
So are you seeing and experiencing and feeling stuff like on a daily basis?
Mm, it happens a lot. Sometimes it goes kind of like in spurts where I'll have like a lot of stuff that happens and then it kind of like simmers down a little bit. And then it'll
Hmm.
speed back up and then simmer down. So it really kind of depends.
Yeah.
Um, enough for me to, that's why I now record all my videos because things were happening all the
Hmm.
time. I was like, no one's
Yeah.
gonna believe me. So
Now you've got it. Yeah.
Oh man.
I get that because I get quite a lot of activity. A lot of things seem to happen around the house, a lot of family experience stuff. And then it
Mhm.
seems to quiet for a little bit. And then there'll be a lot of stuff going on again. And there's a lot of
Yep.
noises and people will hear voices and stuff like that. And then it seems to really pick up again.
Yeah.
But what you were saying before about do you think this follows you? Which I think there's
Yeah.
definitely something to that as well. Do you think there's
Yeah. I
just
feel like,
spiritual world around us the whole time, but
yes.
there's just certain people that can see it and
And
feel
yeah,
it?
and the way I look at it or try to explain it to people is, and you'll get this from a lot of people. So a lot of, and I don't like to use labels and words. The
Hmm.
word psychic, I feel like, has been kind of ran into the ground. And so I usually just kind of chalk it up to I'm sensitive. Um, because I don't do anything. I'm not one of those like, oh, pay me $5 and I'll tell you whatever. Like that's I'm not gonna, I'm not a freaking circus show. I'm not your slave. And everything that I do, I don't really ask for anything. It just happens. And I
Hmm.
just take it with a grain of salt because I'm just like, okay. And I feel like the people generally, if they have one thing that's happened, there's usually a lot. Like it's you never hear somebody
Yes.
who's like, "Oh, I had one thing and it never happened again." It's usually something, and I feel like there's some kind of energy or something that we kind of emit. And although we can't see it, I feel like it's kind of like one of those bug zapper lights for spooky stuff.
Hmm.
And they're kind of like they know. I feel like they know this one can hear me. This one can see me. If I wanted to communicate, this one's here. I'm not going to go waste my time with this one over here because I'm not getting anywhere. I know she can hear me or I know he can hear me or whatever. So I feel
Yes.
like it kind of is like a beacon, I guess, so to speak.
Hmm.
And you just kind of walk around. It's just kind of like everything just kind of swarms to you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because you're right. You talk to someone that's had a paranormal experience. It's very rare that they've had one experience. You do meet people that have only had one experience, but there's
Yeah.
something when you experience something that you know is paranormal, not normal. Like you're open to anything then, and then I think
Yeah.
that's why you see a lot more and
Well,
experience more.
what's funny was, uh, weird stuff has kind of happened like my whole life, right? So I remember at first it wasn't anything too crazy. I remember being a kid and I always always knew weird stuff. I knew when to back away, when to get out of a situation, when to leave, what's not safe, what's safe. I knew something's in here and it's not good. I need to get out. I knew I could feel it, but nothing really major happened until I was like 15. And I mean, I was raised, I mean, most of my childhood, I was basically raised, love you, mom, by a Bible thumper. Okay. I was shoved into church, forced to go every week. So I was programmed that these things don't exist, blah, 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 blah. Until I came face to face with one, I was like, okay. So everything that I just heard for the last, I don't know, 15 years of my life is a freaking lie. Because this thing is right in front of me. I know what I'm looking at. Like it's just it's so weird. And small things happened here and there, but it wasn't very prominent. It was just kind of like hit and miss. And all the stuff that happened, actually, now that I think about it, I never put that together, was in one house. I grew up in one house, and
Mhm.
there was a room in another house that I was in that gave me like bad juju, gave me the willies, so I didn't go in there, but I didn't know why. But I didn't hear anything, I didn't see anything. It was just something about the atmosphere was telling me, just get out. So I just
Mhm.
never went down there. And but when I moved to this house, I mean, I saw two full body apparitions. I saw what I can only describe as a demon. And I mean, like I'm talking face to face.
Wow,
It was like a foot from it. And we had to stare down.
with a demon.
Yes, I
Whoa, I've
what
just written
did I
that
do? I
down.
was just staring at it. I was like, what happened? I was 15. I was like, what's happening to me right now? And that was actually the first one that I ever saw. But it was like all kind of like that house.
Hmm.
And then a bunch of really bad things kind of happened to me in a small time frame. And then I kind of had near death experience at the same time.
Whoa,
And then after that, it has been, I mean, just crazy. I
yeah,
mean, hearing voices, hearing different like music boxes that just weird stuff. Knowing things. I mean, it's just having these weird dreams that basically just essentially are premonitions
Hmm.
that I didn't put two and two until I was like, oh, this keeps happening. That's really weird. I mean, it like keeps happening very specifically accurate. And I'm like,
Wow.
did I tell people about this or no? Because it's kind of creepy. I mean,
That's
if you knew you were gonna die within 48 hours, would you want to know?
oh, it's a good question. I don't think so.
So I just, but it's like, do I warn
So
people?
did you have a dream that someone was going to pass and then
Oh,
they
I've
did?
had, I think, 6 or 7 of those.
Oh, I've spoke to other people that have had that as well. Six or
Yep.
seven.
Yep. And I never know. I mean, and it's been everything from family members of mine, family members like step, my stepfather-in-law,
Yeah,
who I never actually met in person. I've had one that was a complete stranger. I only knew about it because her face was on the news the next day.
that's wild.
So I'm
So
like, this is cool.
so
Not really.
when you have them dreams, are they like different from a normal dream? Do you
Mhm.
know that that's like a
So
premonition?
I have very, very, very vivid dreams anyway. And well, let me rephrase that. They're either very, very vivid dreams or horrifying nightmares. And I mean the kind where you feel everything, you smell everything, you can taste everything. I mean, it is so real that you're sitting in it.
Yeah.
And the reason I know the ones that are gonna happen, which one it is one, does kind of feel different. I'm typically in their body. So I feel them dying. It's not like I'm watching. I mean, I feel it. And it's like I'm dreaming it, I'm dreaming the situation, and then everything starts to close, and it's like I am them and I die with them, and then I wake up.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really fucking creepy.
I don't think I've heard that before.
It's very weird.
Wow. So you actually become them in your dream.
And in
Oh.
every single
Do you
one,
know? Are you aware that it's do you are you aware that it's you in someone else's body in the
yeah,
dream?
I mean, it's me. Like it's as if like right now, if you're looking like if you put your hands out and you look and you're
Hmm.
like, okay, I am cognizant, I am aware, it's me, this is my body. It is exactly like that, only when I look down, I'm not me. It's someone else.
That's wild.
It's weird.
And do you feel how they're going to die? Do you know how they're going to pass?
Yeah, it's really it's really bizarre. I haven't figured out exactly how it works or why it
Hmm.
works or when it works. That's another one of those things that it just happens.
Hmm.
And then I'm like, oh, it's nothing. Like that's not good. And then it happens, and I'm like, fuck again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe there's something
Man.
to this. Then I'm like, no, 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 because it's weird, right? And then it
Yeah.
happens again. I'm like, shit. But
Does
I do
it
the same
does it
thing with babies.
oh what a
I
baby's being born?
sometimes I know I can tell somebody one, they're pregnant, two, what they're having before they even know.
Wow.
So far, I'm a baby number 12 so far that I've been right on.
Wow. And would that be in a dream form as well? Like the
Mhm.
same interesting.
Yep, yep. It's just it's a very weird feeling
Hmm.
because
That's so wild.
yeah, and for as much weird stuff that happens to me, I am still pretty skeptical because I'm like, there's no way. Like, this is weird. It's just coincidence. But I'm like, that's an awful lot of coincidences
Yeah, I
in
don't
a,
believe in coincidences.
yeah.
That's
So,
so
I mean, it
wild.
just makes you feel really weird, and it's
Have you ever had a dream like that and it's not come true? And like has it ever? Because I mean,
only
I'd
when I
I'd be
die.
worried about my dreams.
Only when I die.
Okay.
I get murdered a lot, very violently, and like I said, it's really vivid, and you feel I mean, it's horrifying pain,
Hmm.
and
Oh man.
oh my God, it's horrible. But those ones, obviously, I'm here, so those
Mhm.
ones haven't happened. But I did have. I know you're probably going to ask me about it just because I know.
You know what I'm
Uh,
going to ask?
I've had two near-death experiences, one of which led to a dream that I had later,
Hmm.
and it was so bizarre. It was so bizarre. Like I saw my kids that I'd lost like months before, and they were there. It was
Whoa.
it was mind-boggling, I guess, so to speak. To be
Mhm.
fair, it's probably the only reason that I'm still breathing because I was in a really bad spot, hence the near-death experience, and that's when I had it.
Mhm. Yeah.
I woke up I woke up to my roommate shaking me in a pool of my own vomit.
Whoa. Can I
So,
ask you if you don't mind? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to, but
I want to.
what happened?
So, okay. First things first, way the way back machine. When I was 18, keep in mind, I'm 18, I'm still in high school, dude. Like I'm still in school. And I found out I was pregnant. Surprise. So we decided we were going to do the right thing and planned on getting married, the whole nine. And a month and a half later, shit hit the fan. I mean, it just absolutely hit the fan. I literally bent down to pick something up and was in so much horrifying pain that I could not physically get up. And keep in mind, well, at first, I ended up getting up and walking and everything. And this was like Friday afternoon, and I'm at work. So they had to come get me, and he took me home. I stayed on the couch pretty much, except to get up to go to the bathroom. And they made an appointment for Monday because they said, "Oh, well, you're totally healthy. This stuff never happens. It's fine, whatever. It's the first baby and you're just nervous." To which I explained to them, "No, because I can feel it. Something is very wrong with me." I couldn't explain that to the doctor because they didn't understand. I didn't understand. I just knew that I knew it was bad. So Monday, I go to the doctor's office and they do an ultrasound. And the moment they turn the little screen on, they hit a button and the whole screen lights up in different multicolors. And the lady literally dropped what she was doing and ran out of the room. That's it. Just left me there, spread eagle, nothing. So basically, I went from everything should have been fine to by the time actually that I made it to the doctor's office. So this was Friday, again, Friday. This is Monday afternoon. So we're talking Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That's 4 days. Note this is important. 4 days. When I walked myself in, went to, did everything myself. I didn't have any help. And I literally looked like a dead person. I mean, my skin was gray. I mean, I mean, something was wrong, obviously. And what we basically found out was the baby had gotten stuck in my tube. And so it grew like it was supposed to, until it just kept going and then it exploded.
Oh
So
man.
my tube exploded. I was bleeding internally for 4 days.
Oh my.
Doctor told me you should bleed to death in 72 hours. That's only 3 days. So, one, they had
Whoa.
no idea how I was even still alive. It was a total fluke. And they even told me on the way to the hospital, they're like, "Okay, we can't send you in an ambulance because it's too bouncy and you're basically going to die before you get there." So they told my mom, "Drive as fast as you can. Don't slam on your brakes. Don't hit a pothole. Don't swerve because if you do one little jostle," I was only 5 minutes from the hospital. And they're like, "You hit one bump wrong and she will bleed out before you get there."
Oh my
So I went from I'm
gosh.
fine to I'm dying, the baby's dying, and I have to have emergency surgery. And I was in the hospital within 10, 15 minutes. And they're like, "Don't even go to registration. You just go straight there." Like they called and they were cleaning the table up as I was coming in. So, and then of course there's me. I'm a little stubborn and again, 18, so I could do what I wanted. And I refused to sign the paperwork to let them operate. I told them that I would rather die than to wake up and not know what happened to my baby. So, by then I already had an IV in because they were just trying to keep me breathing at this point. And I guess something went in my IV, and apparently I signed papers that I don't remember signing. But I flatlined on the operating table. And then when I woke up, I was in the recovery or whatever, and I was really tired, and I just kept telling people, I was like, "I'm so tired." I was like, "I'm just gonna take a nap. I'm just gonna take a nap." And I felt like I was going to sleep, but I would fall asleep, and next thing I know, all the machines were beeping. Like I quit breathing, everything I shut down. So then they had to shake me awake to get me breathing and get my heart rate. Yeah, excuse me. I did that a few times. Um, before they finally got me, they're like, "Don't let her go to sleep," because I thought I was sleeping. Apparently I was, really sleeping, if you catch my drift.
Yeah.
The ultimate sleep. And
Whoa.
it was very chaotic. I mean, they couldn't even see how to open me. So like this little drink here, for everybody who doesn't watch the video, go watch the video. Uh, they virtually had to take out this much blood just to get a picture of where to cut me safely. I mean,
Whoa.
literally, I
So
was just full.
for the listeners, that's a bottle of Coke.
Yes. Oh, yes. That is a for anybody who's got a McDonald's, think just to get a picture of my insides, they had to take out a medium pop worth of blood out of my stomach.
Whoa.
So now here's where it gets crazy. So that's the scenario that got me there. Okay. Now, again, two experiences, they were very different experiences. This one was not good. This is one, like I said, I was raised in a religious family, all this stuff. I don't know where I went, but it wasn't up and it wasn't down. So the best way I can describe it is, so I fall asleep, quote unquote, fall asleep, and I woke up and looked around me, and all I saw was black. So if you have not seen Stranger Things, have you seen Stranger Things?
Yes, that's what I thought of as soon
Okay.
as you said that.
when
Yeah.
when she goes in the deprivation tank and she wakes up in her whatever, I don't want to call it a mind palace, but and she's actively looking for that thing and it's all black, that's where I woke up. Keep in mind, this happened in 2008. Stranger Things was not a thing. So this is not
Yeah.
influenced at all in any way, shape, or form by anything I've seen. When I watched that show, I went, holy fucking shit. That's where I was. Wherever the hell that was, that's where I was. And it
Wow.
literally was like, you're walking, it's wet. I mean, it
Oh,
was weird.
you could feel the
Super
water on the
wet.
floor as well.
Huh?
You could feel like the water on the floor, like in
Yeah.
the show. There's
Yeah.
water on.
And what's weird was is in the atmosphere. So again, being somebody who's sensitive, I can feel whether you're alive, whether you're not here, you're unalive, whatever
Mhm.
the case may be, breathing or not, I can feel your energy if you are near me. I always know when there's people. I know when somebody walks in the house. I know when somebody leaves the house. I always know if there's stuff around me. But when I was here, it is the only time I have ever felt no one, nothing. It was almost when you get cold and your bones ache,
Mhm.
that's what it felt like, but it didn't physically feel cold. It's just that achy, weird air feeling. And I was just kind of standing there like, what the hell is this? What's happening? And I mean, not even a single little dot of light. I mean, just darkness everywhere. And all of a sudden, I was just kind of like trying to walk around to figure out what the heck's going on. And it was like I could hear someone, but it wasn't external. It was like somebody was talking in my head. And they're like, what are you doing here? And I was like, I don't know. Like, you tell me. I don't know where I'm, I don't even know where I'm at. And they're like, you can't be here yet. You're not supposed to be here yet. You need to go. Like, you need to go now. Like, leave now. It was like, basically, it kind of made me feel like if you don't get out now, you're going to be trapped here, wherever here was.
Whoa.
And it was just very, it was a very odd sensation. It was, there was no one, there was nothing. It was just like an absence of everything. I mean, aside from like anything that I felt was like internal. So like that achy bone thing. And then, well, I mean, I guess I felt like where I was walking, it was kind of like a coldy, watery kind of thing. But it
Mhm.
wasn't like I was walking in a puddle. It was like I was walking on the water. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
in the water. It was really weird. It was
Wow.
just like, you can't be here yet. You got to go. Like,
Did you recognize the voice?
nope, not a clue. It was, it seemed like masculine, but that's all I know.
And then do you remember just waking up from that? Do you remember how you got out of that?
It was literally, I was there and I was like, warning. And I was like, okay. And next thing I know, I got doctors shaking me and like yelling in my face to wake up.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
So did you officially pass away on
So
the operating
technically, yes,
table?
my machine flatlined. That's what was beeping.
Mm. So you did die on the table.
Yeah, temporarily.
Oh
I
my
don't know for how
gosh.
long,
Yeah.
but I know that at one point yeah.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, totally crazy.
I mean, I've heard of a bad most near death experiences you hear are positive. You go to a place that you feel amazing.
Hmm.
I've heard that many times. I've heard one other bad experience when someone's passed and they went to a place that wasn't nice
Yeah.
and like
But what I thought
hell,
was so weird
basically.
was it wasn't really, I mean, if I really enjoyed solitude and being alone forever, fine, but it wasn't what I meant. Again, religious household. So it's not like I definitely wasn't in heaven, whatever that is.
Hmm.
But I wasn't really necessarily in hell either, unless my version of hell is to be alone forever.
Yeah. I
Who
mean,
knows?
to me that sounds like hell.
Yeah,
Like
no
to
fire, no brimstone, no demon, no nothing.
no, just darkness
And there
and
was
on
no
your
pearly
own.
gate that I got judged at either, just so everybody knows.
That is wild.
But it really messed with my head because, like I said, it was pounded into my head for so long, this religious stuff, that I'm like, that's not what happened to me. I don't know where I was. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But there was nobody else there. There was nobody greeting me. There's nothing. Everything that everybody says happens didn't happen.
Hmm.
But on a lighter note, we'll bring
Can
my second one in because
can
I said
can I
one was
just
good.
ask if you've ever spoke to anyone else that has had a similar experience to that?
I think I was listening to something one time and heard somebody that had something similar, but I've never had anybody have exactly what I did. Which
Hmm.
is why I'm like, well, maybe that is my own personal version of hell because I feel like hell is different for everybody.
Yeah, maybe that's what hell is. It's your personal hell.
You ever seen Lucifer, the show on Netflix?
I know what you mean. I've not seen it
Watch it
though.
because they're all smoking hot anyway. But it's like in their hell in the show, hell is this big, rocky, whatever crevice, but everybody has a door, everybody has a room, and inside that room is whatever your version of hell is. And you don't know there's a door to get out. You're just trapped in
Hmm.
your horrible, horrible nightmare every day, just on
Yeah.
repeat. So I feel like maybe
Whoa.
it's kind of like that.
Yeah, because someone's hell might not be someone else's
Mhm.
hell, but oh, that's what. Okay, what's the lighter one? Let's
Okay.
go.
So on a more happy note, well, okay, it's gonna get darker before it gets lighter. Okay, so bear with me. Fast forward to like the beginning of the next year. So all this crap happens to me. In the meantime, my ex ditches me. So the dad dropped me like a hot potato, said that he couldn't be with me because every time he saw me, he thought of the baby that I lost, like it was my fault. Two, I got kicked out of my house. I was living on my own. Yeah. I got kicked out of my house because of him, and then he ditched me.
Oh man.
I was working my job, I was putting myself through school. I'd like to point out I worked at McDonald's. I was not a stripper putting myself through school. I got standards, y'all. But I had a one night stand with this guy, ironically in a cemetery. In my defense, he worked there. He literally was a grave digger.
Whoa.
So it's not as creepy as it sounds. Uh, there's a reason for us to be there. But anyway, and then found out I was pregnant. Surprise! Yeah, guys. One form of birth control doesn't work, so take your pills and wrap it up. Double whammy, because that stuff doesn't work. Safe sex, y'all. It only takes one time. They aren't kidding in school. It really does take one time. So I go to the doctor. I had already undergone all this testing because they couldn't figure out why the first one happened the way it did. So they wanted to ensure the second one, if I ever had one, wouldn't do the same. Everything, like literally to the point where they shot ink inside of my stuff and watched it on a screen and it burned like a motherfucker. It's like lava inside me. And I couldn't move the whole time because they had to like watch it on the camera. It was horrible. But they said everything was fine. So I do the normal, go in, doctor's appointments, blah, 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 blah. Of course, dad just doesn't show up to anything per the norm. Um, and then I went into the doctor's office one day and the doctor came in with a box of tissues. Problem one. He looked like a sad puppy dog. He came in with a box of tissues and he acted like he did not want to tell me whatever he had to tell me. So then he proceeds to tell me before the fact that, everything else is happening. Oh, hey, by the way, there's more than one. Surprise. There's two,
Twins.
but we can't find them where they're supposed to be.
Oh man.
So the same thing that happened the first time was going to happen again unless we
Oh,
did something about it. But they didn't know where they were at, so they couldn't do anything. They couldn't find them. So that was a fun conversation. And then they sent me to the cancer ward at the hospital to get a shot that breaks up tumors,
oh,
and then told me it would take care of itself and sent me home.
whoa.
Every 2 days, I had to go back to the doctor's office and get blood work done so that they could call me and tell me how less pregnant I was. Like it was a good thing. Okay.
Mhm.
At the time, I had a roommate. Awesome dude. Awesome dude. Love him to death. And they called me to tell me I officially was no longer pregnant with my twins on the day my first one was supposed to be born.
Wow.
So I was
Yeah.
19. My roommate was 21. Also had a drinking problem. Actually, he was 22. He was 22 because he had just gotten back from overseas and kind of had a drinking problem. So there was lots of liquor in the house. So I literally, oh, disclaimer. I don't know if you have disclaimers, but disclaimer. Okay. Literally found anything and everything that I could pop into my mouth and took it at once, and then drank as much alcohol as I could before I physically dropped and couldn't drink anymore.
Oh man.
To which led me to the apparently passed out and wasn't breathing when he got home from work. And the only reason that he found me when he did was for whatever reason, he just so happened his boss let him leave an hour early. That's probably the only reason he was ready.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow.
Okay, so there's the negative. Okay, so there's the bad part. But anyway, so I'm roasted. I pass out, or apparently I was more than passed out. And I woke up, but this time I was not in a black space. I was standing in the middle of a field, right? Like just grass field specifically. And I remember looking around and thinking it was so strange because the grass was a color green that I had never seen before. It was like perfect. It was not too high, but not too short. Like it wasn't mowed, but it wasn't too high and wild. And it was very soft on your feet. It was like really weird. Um, the sky was like super, super blue, like blue that I still to this day have not seen again. And it was weird because it was like it was really sunny, but there was no sun. So it was just like I was standing and looking. I'm like, well, this is weird. I was like, I'm just in the middle of a field. And I heard voices, and for whatever reason, I recognized them. And I was like, okay. And I looked, and when I first, which is really bizarre, because when I first did a, once over, it was just me in a field. There was nothing. But then whenever I heard the voices and I looked, there was one tree, just in the middle of this random field. And I'm like, okay, well, that's where the voices are coming from. So I'm going to go over there. Because what else do you do, right? And oh my God, this is going to give me goosebumps. I'm sorry. Um, I walked over, and waiting for me were three kids. There was one that was clearly older. He was bigger. And then there were two that were the same age. And the first one looked a lot like dad number one. The second boy looked a lot like dad number two. And there was a girl that looked kind of like if you were to mix us together. I don't have apparently very
Wow.
dominant traits. And they were just standing there, and they're like, they were like, oh, hi. And I was like, do I know you? And they're like, you know us. And I'm like, why do I know you? It was like they were familiar. And I'm like, why do I know you? I don't recognize you. And they're like, you know us. And they're like, why are you here? I was like, excuse me? And they're like, why are you here? You're not supposed to be here yet. And I'm like, here we go, this yet thing again. And then I was like, are you who I think you are? And they're like, mommy, you should know who we are. And I immediately just,
Oh,
I mean, just, I'm having a meltdown at this point because, and what's weird is everybody was wearing this, we were all wearing white. Okay. It was very kind of like more traditionally heaven kind of feel to it because But it was so white that it like glowed a little, like it had a little, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? But not super bright, but just enough that it was there. And I'm like, okay, and I'm looking at, I'm wearing it too, and I mean, I of course lose it because I'm apologizing and I'm like, I am so sorry, and I feel miserable, and they were very calm. And they just kept telling me, they're like, it's okay. They're like, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You didn't do it. It's fine. It's fine. And they're like, don't worry. We're taken care of. We're taken care of. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, whoever he is. But I thought it was interesting that he is what I heard the first time. And then he was taking care of them. They just said they were safe because he was taking care of them. I don't know what that meant, but it is what it is. And they just were like, you know what? They're like, and I told them, they're like, you can't be here. They're like, Mommy, you have to go. And I'm like, I don't want to go. I was like, I want to stay here with you guys. I don't want to go back. I was like, I want to stay. And they're like, you can't stay. And they, and I was like, but I don't want to go. I said, what happens if I come back? What if you're gone? And they just kept telling me, they're like, you can't be here yet. And we'll be here when you get back. They're like, we'll be right here waiting when you're ready. They're like, but you can't be here yet. And I'm like, but I want to go. But it was just, and I got to give them a big old hug. And it was like a big, like, where it's like all of them, all around. And I was just squeezing them as hard as I could, and I could like smell them, and I could feel them.
Oh man.
And
Yeah.
then next thing I know, I was back in my bed with him just freaking out, like turned me over on my side and was like, give me a little, weird baby on the back Heimlich thing.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering if maybe the first time I was prematurely there, and I'm thinking, what if wherever you go after gets built over the period of your life? And it wasn't ready yet, and then I
Interesting.
saw it again too early, and it was close to done, but not quite. And
That's
then they're just like,
interesting.
it's not. So maybe, I don't know. But here's where it gets real interesting. So again, this is 2009 when this happens. Okay. My son was born in 2011. I had one of those 3D ultrasounds done so you can see his face when he's in there. And the moment that picture came on that screen, I froze. It was the same face that I saw 2 years before that in my dream, the older boy. They have the same dad too. And
Wow.
I mean, ever since birth, I mean, the moment this kid came up, I'm like, I recognize him. I know his face. I've seen him before. And as he gets older, and what's really creepy now is the age my son is at now is about the age that I saw him at in my dream. So I am looking at both of them when I see him.
Wow.
It's even better than that. It's not just me. So I recorded one day with a lady. Actually, it's my cousin. So she's been around. She knows my son. We've grown up. So everybody was gone. It was just me and her in the house, and we're sitting across from each other and we're recording. And she was doing something, reading her notes or whatever, and she just happened to look up. And again, I mean, she just ghost white. I mean, just stared. And she was looking over me. Like I could tell she wasn't looking at me, she was looking through me. And I just froze. I'm like, I know something is back there, but I don't know what you're looking at. So I was like, do I move? And she kind of like, shook her head and closed her eyes and opened them back up. She goes, your kid is gone, right? Like, yeah. I'm like, he's 45 minutes away from here right now. He's not even in the same county as me right now. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like, I am positive. I dropped him off. I know he's not here. She goes, I just looked up, and she goes, I swear your kid was standing behind you and was just looking, just kind of like, what are you doing? Like, just curious, was looking over my shoulder. She goes, but I swear it was your kid. She goes, it looked just like him. She was probably freaked her out because she thought my kid was standing in the room, but it wasn't. It was
Whoa.
the first one. Yeah.
Whoa.
So I don't know. I don't know if maybe there's a chance that I got re-given the same kid. I mean, is that even possible?
Man.
I don't know how that works.
Wow.
But yeah,
Yeah,
so
I,
that's
I, I, I took it at first is that like he was reborn, basically. But You're saying it's possibly there's still two.
So there's got to be physically, I don't know if he can be physically reborn,
Hmm.
but it is very concerning that they look identical. Oh, and did I mention that he also looks identical to his father?
Yeah.
Well, for
Man.
everybody who's not there, I'm going to show you this real fast because I show people because they don't believe me. I'm like, no, I mean, motherfucker could have. It's like I somehow cracked the code for cloning.
So
I don't
people
know.
won't be able to see
My
unless you're
vagina
watching
is
on
the key
YouTube.
to cloning.
You've got to go to the YouTube to see this, guys. Okay.
That's
Wow.
two kids. That's mine.
Yeah.
This one, and this is his father 20 years before that.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Now, David, if you ever hear me talking about David on my show, that is number one.
Okay.
David is number one. So when he's the first kid.
Hmm.
Let me say number, he's the first kid. And
Yeah.
he comes on, I think, a lot sometimes and kind of talks a lot.
Wow. So he's still
But they pull
around you.
pranks on me all the time.
Man.
Yeah.
I tell you, you gave me goosebumps there when you was
Yeah,
talking, telling me that.
it's
That
just so
was,
weird because it's like even to this day, I'm like, was that real? And I mean the whole thing, not just the dream or I mean physically, I'm like, did that really happen to me? I have the scars that tell me it did, but it's like it fucked me so royally in the head that it seems like it was all just a bad nightmare and that I'm not, it's like I literally forget that I can't have any more kids. I forget. I'm just like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, I'm broken. Like, okay, yeah, cool. Cool. I don't have to worry about that. Whatever. Or, when you're like thinking about it, and you're like, oh, I'd love to have more kids. And I'm like, oh wait, can't do that either.
oh man.
So, oh, and he's
Yeah.
not even my kid's not even supposed to be here. They told me after the twins that there's no way in hell I was gonna ever have a baby that made it out alive.
And you did.
Mhm. And then I lost after him too.
Man.
So
Oh my gosh.
welcome to my life.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, but
That's,
it was so crazy because like I said, I recognized them. Even though I had never seen them before, I knew who they were.
hmm. Yeah.
And it wasn't like, oh, I just had this weird dream. I mean, I'm talking I could touch them. I could smell their hair. It just not Joe Biden kind of smell their hair, but like, the nice kind. Um,
And that
y'all, happy election year. Um,
and that position that your friend found you in, very luckily. I mean, it's weird that he
yeah.
got let out of work early. That's already
Mhm.
coincidence, luck, whatever you want to call it. Uh, Someone looking out for you, whatever it is. That's weird as well. How did he find? Did he find you like you were?
I what I gathered from what he told me, I think he didn't want to give me all the information. Um, but I mean, I was fully clothed. I was laying on the bed. It looked like I had fallen like onto the bed. I didn't just like sit down and no, I like just fell on my face virtually. And I was just surrounded. I guess I had been like just puking everywhere. And I was virtually basically drowning in my own vomit.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
man. Wow. But I mean that second experience, which is
Yeah.
incredible, which just gave
So
me
it is way
goosebumps.
easier. It was so bizarre because everything was so vibrant in
Hmm.
colors I'd never seen before. And everything was so perfect. Almost like, now granted, oh, okay, things are about to get real weird. You ready? If we did in fact live in a simulation, that would explain a lot because I am talking wherever I went was like the Sims motherfucking perfect.
Hmm.
Nothing was out, not a blade out of place.
Yeah.
Everything was perfect.
See, and I've heard that before. When there's a lot of the things you were saying there for the near-death
Yeah.
experience, the colours, you're saying that you've never seen that type of green, you've never seen that type of blue.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people say that when they've passed and come back. I've heard a lot of people say that and that they didn't want to leave as well, that they were wanted to stay.
It was one of those things that was like I was safe and I knew they were mine and I belonged with them. I didn't want to go. One, I didn't want to go back because I knew what was waiting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's the
Man.
point? And then and that just goes into a whole nother thing because I'm like, I mean, aside from the fact that I somehow managed to miraculously birth this child here, who, by the way, is a teenager, is driving me nuts. But aside from that, I'm like, he must be destined to do something great because everything else that I've gone through, like the rest of my life, has been just shit. Aside from all the cool superpowers I have now. So that's
Yeah.
kind of, it was one of those, I had the superpowers, but it's like I got like a booster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was,
you had it tough, man. As a youngster. Wow.
yeah. So, but yeah, so that's the positive side.
Wow.
So even though you might die and it looks very bleak, don't get too upset because it might change.
Yeah. That's so interesting because I've not heard that theory before that whatever it is, wherever we go, that could be created. They could be
Mhm.
being made in whatever we want, whatever our vision of
Yeah.
heaven is.
And what I
That's
thought was
interesting.
weird was I hear a lot of people that say, all their loved ones were there. Nope. The only people there were me and the babies.
Mhm.
That's it.
And that's special. That's very, very special. Man.
Yeah. So that's that.
Wow. So thank you for sharing that because
No
that is
problem.
a
You want any more spooky stuff? I mean, we got tons of
uh,
spooky.
I
Weird stuff
want it.
happens to me all the
I
time.
want it all. I want it all.
Oh,
Oh,
let's see here.
can I go back to when you was 15
Mhm.
and
That's what I figured you were going to ask me about.
you came face to face with a demon?
Yes.
Because I wrote that down because I was like, I'm not going to forget that one.
Yeah. So, okay. Again, I'm 15. I had brothers and sisters. There's four kids in the house, and then my mom and my stepdad. I worked. So I was in school, I was in sports, and I worked. So I was just like going all the time. And I don't remember why the hell my mom needed it, but she needed something. And so basically, here, I will draw you a little picture because you know what? I didn't even think about this till now. Oh, sorry, something passed in front of my camera. Come on, work for me. Oh,
Whoa.
you're not gonna do now. Usually it changes colors. Did you notice I'm pink now? There
Yeah.
you go. I have to recalibrate my screen sometimes. I think something goes in front of me and it changes colors.
Do you think that's a paranormal thing? Or do you think that's just
Probably because it's also doing this.
what's that? What was
Look
that?
how red I am.
That happened last time we spoke.
Yep.
Does
And I
that
was talking
mean
about the kids, so they might be in here. Oh, hey, I didn't disclaimer. I mean, somebody obviously got the message, but if anybody else wants to hit a censor, feel free. We don't
yeah.
judge here. We don't judge here. Oh, my hands are shaking. Okay. All right. We got the road here. Sorry, it's just easier if I just make a
No, that's
little.
cool. That's cool.
Okay. All right. So here's the main road.
Mm-hmm.
See, notice I made myself pink that time because I put something in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ah,
Just want to point out that it was because I put something in front of the camera. So whenever I'm
okay.
not doing it and I turn pink,
So it's like a sensor, yeah.
yeah. So road here. This is a driveway. We had a little oval driveway and there's trees all around it.
Mm-hmm.
This is my house. There was a driveway that, wow, that came out really southern. Sorry about that.
It's cool.
There was a driveway that came back here, and this is my aunt's house. Okay. So my mom wanted sugar, and it was late. And I had just gotten my driver's permit, so I wanted to take the van to my aunt's house to get sugar. And I really don't like being pink. There we go. And I go and I got the keys, and I get in the car and I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm checking the mirrors. I'm literally just crossing a pond. Like I'm just going 200 yards down the road. But, practice makes perfect. So I'm getting all my stuff ready, put my hands on, and I go to stick the key in the ignition to turn it. And before I turned it, it was just like everything just stood up. I mean, all the hairs, goosebumps. I mean, everything was like I was on high alert and I just froze. And I was like, okay, well, this is weird. And then out of the corner of my eye, I just saw something sitting in the passenger seat. It just looked like a something in the passenger seat. So I was like, but I knew I was like, ooh, like, this doesn't feel right. Something's not right here. And I'm like, I could tell it was watching me. Like it was looking right through me. So I was like, okay. And at this point, I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. So I was like, what the hell? So I'm like, okay. And I turned and it didn't leave. It wasn't like, oh, you saw the corner of your eye when you blink or you look, it's gone. No, 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 no. It was sitting in the seat next to me, and it was like it was sitting. I could see it, the whole length of it that was down, and it was like turned, like the top of it was turned, so it was facing me, almost like it was waiting for me to look at it. But it had this arm that was like stuck out, like on the dashboard, just waiting. And it was just all black, and it had this long, skinny arm, and it had these like have you ever seen The Grinch with Jim Carrey?
Yeah,
Okay.
love that film.
So his fingers, only they were not fuzzy. They were just straight like knives, like sharp, like Freddy Krueger meets the Grinch and Jet Black.
Whoa. Yeah.
And they were just out, like just sitting on the thing. And he was just looking at me. But we do a bunch of movie references here. Sorry. So if you've ever seen a movie called Spirited Away,
Yeah, love
Japanese
that film.
film, okay, No Face that has the mask,
Hmm.
his body shape only really tall, but it didn't have a mask. It was like if you took the mask off and got rid of it, and it was just one big black mass, but where it was like almost like it had sockets where the eyes should be, but instead of them being black, they were almost like blacker than black. It's almost like they were so non-existent that they were more like voids, like a black hole, where it's an absence of light, an absence of color, as opposed to just black. I mean, it was, and I'm just staring at it because I didn't know what to do. I was like a deer in headlights. I mean, what the hell do you do when you turn around and see that? Keep in mind, I'm 15. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I mean, I was straight edge. I didn't have time for that shit, right? It was like 10 o'clock at night. So it's not like I was so tired that I was imagining things. No. And I mean, I am looking this thing dead in the eye. Well, eye socket area. And after like a minute or so, I started realizing that it felt like it was taking something, like pulling something from me. I couldn't see it, but it was almost like something was attached like really far inside me and it was like pulling it out. And I'm like, I don't know if it was sucking out my energy, maybe because like I said, weird, well, I don't want to say weird people like me, but people that are different like me. And my theory about the beacon, maybe he was pulling that particular thing from me to feed it. I don't know. Um, but I realized that it was doing something. And so I, straight up and I'm like, you need to get, I was like, leave. I was like, you can't be here. You've got to go. I was like, if I open my eyes, I said, you better like be out of here. You're gone. And so then I'm like, hold on, and I'm like peeking with one eye and I'm like, and it was gone. I was like, okay, cool, cool, cool. Oh, wait, we're not done yet. I'm like, all right, cool. So I go up to my aunt's house. I get the fucking sugar, whatever the hell it was my mom needed. And I'm coming back down. So this is where I was at. I was kept driving back down here and I was getting ready to turn. Now, right here was a street light. I live in the middle of, well, nowhere. So when I say street light, it's not like a pretty, London street light. It's like it looks like a fucking metal trash can lid on a wooden post that's just really tall with a half-ass like mercury kind of weird ass light bulb. But anyway, so I'm coming down this way, and right when I get about here, where I was going to turn to go back home, I'm getting ready to go, and the same thing that was sitting next to me came out from underneath my van. I mean, under it. And the best way I could think to describe it is it like scurried. It was almost like a lizard, but not physically right. Like its arms and its knees were like up, like a grasshopper. And it was like like shimmying down the driveway. And as it was going, it wasn't really solid. It was almost like when you watch The Ring and she like glitches in and out, it's like real fucking
Hmm.
creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. And it goes all the way down the alley. It shot up the light pole. And when it was going up the pole, it didn't like grab it like you would think it would. It was like its hands were like this, like almost like it was sticky. And it just went up. It went all the way to the top. Boom, light fucking exploded. And it goes out and the thing's gone. And it's not just me because they had to send a crew out to repair the light because the light was broken.
What? And you saw it go. You saw it blow.
Yep. And then after that, that was a while ago, obviously. I was 15. Fast forward like 15 years, it came back and saw me like this year.
This year.
Yeah. I was in bed and it was really weird. So I do not do sleep paralysis. I don't get that. I don't get the hag. This thing is, it's a fucking demon and I know what it is and I've seen it before. And I don't know what I was doing, but I fell asleep in bed and I woke up. Sorry. Oh goodness.
That's okay.
And I was on my back.
Yeah.
Well, newsflash, girls like me can't sleep on their back or we suffocate. So that was number one. I knew something wasn't right because I just don't. I'm a side sleeper or whatever. Um, and I remember being on my back kind of and looking around, and it was like everything was dark because it was in the middle of the night, but there was almost like a blue or maybe like a green hue, just enough light that you could kind of see like a silhouette of like the dresser and the chair and whatever. It was, so you could see where everything was, but it was a color that should not have been in my room for starters. Um, and I mean, I never felt scared, even the first time. Never felt like I was in danger. I didn't think this thing was gonna just like eat me or anything. It was almost like it was like, hey, I'm just gonna get something from you. I'll be out of your hair momentarily.
Hmm.
Like, you good? Okay. And then it just did its business and then gone. This one, I was laying there and I saw that same very, very specific hand came out like from beside me. And what's weird was, again, I didn't even try to move. I didn't feel like I needed to move. I was like, this thing's not going to hurt me. It's fine. Like, it's weird. It was literally, I was like, oh, hi again. Like, I recognized it. It was just like, oh, hi, long time no see. And it literally just, it reached across and I had my short sleeves on like this. And it took its arm and just one finger with a little razor finger. And it just took it and just ran it down like the middle of my bicep, like this. And it felt almost like if you took like a steak knife and just took the tip of it and just barely ran it down like your skin. And it did it 3 times, like almost like, hey, if I wanted to, I could really mess you up, but I'm not going to. Like almost like it was
Oh,
proving a point. I could really fuck you up. But it just did it 3 times, just enough to be like, okay. And the next thing I knew, I was awake.
man.
That was it.
Whoa. How
I
long
don't
ago
know
was
what it
that?
was
Sorry.
trying to prove. I don't know. I don't know. I just know that I recognized it. It was familiar. It didn't hurt me.
Yeah.
And I tried to look at my arm, but like I said, it was doing it so lightly that I didn't even expect to see anything.
Wow. And that was this year. Sorry. You said
Yeah,
this was the
yeah,
start
like
of
the
the year?
beginning of the year.
That's
And I
wild.
have no idea. No idea.
What, how, is it just a knowing that you know it's a demon? Is it just like a knowing?
Oh, I guess I could probably explain that. Okay, so I just assume everybody knows. Again, so used to it that I forget. So basically, if there is a person, well, okay, if there is anything that has been a person before, what I try to explain to people is it's kind of, now I don't know how everybody is because everybody who's sensitive is different. So I can't speak for everybody. I just know what I know.
Mhm.
I can even close my eyes and whatever is in the vicinity, if it wants me to, I can tell you what it looks like. I can tell you if it's a man, if it's a woman, what is it old, young, tall, short, curly hair, glasses, no. It's like even if they can't get the energy to be in front of me, they can show me, like project where I can see what they are, who they are. And even though everybody's dead, which is where we get in the whole soul conversation, and I'm not even going to touch on that because it's just, but they still have some humanity. I can
Mhm.
sense that they're a person. I can sense that they're a human. It's almost like again, with the soul thing, I don't know, but it's almost like the best way I could describe it is almost like it really is something soul based that it's only in humans that you can sense. This thing that I saw, nothing. I mean, it was dead inside. There was no humanity. There was no human-esque factors. Everything about it was not a who, it was a what.
Mhm.
And that's just, I mean, I just, in looking at it, it was taking something from me. I'm like, well, maybe that's what it was trying to take. I don't know. I have no idea. But it definitely did not even have a glimmer of anything even remotely resembling humanity left in it.
Man,
So
that's wild.
yeah, and like I said, it didn't hurt me. I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel like, because everybody's like, oh, you had sleep paralysis because you didn't move. I didn't feel like I needed to move.
Hmm.
I very well could have got up and, smacked in the face. I don't
Yeah,
know. I was like,
yeah.
I didn't even feel like I need to move. I was just like, well, and again, because things happen to me so often that I just don't respond. So I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, hi, whatever.
It's just a
Like,
demon.
there's a demon in my room. No big deal. It's okay.
So
How's it
obvi-
going? Hey. Maybe the batteries recharge every 15 years. I don't know.
obviously, like now you're surrounded by paranormal stuff because of the
Yeah.
podcast and the stuff you do. And but when you were 15, was you having weird stuff happening around you, like
When
before
I
or
was
after that?
15, I did not watch scary movies. I did not do haunted houses. I mean, like I said, I was very much so sheltered
Hmm.
all the time. I didn't have, I mean, aside from the weird feelings and um I always seemed to know how to get what I wanted because I knew what to do, what the other person wanted to get what I wanted.
Hmm. Yeah.
Without that sounding really weird. Um, but I would, finish things or I would just know that somebody needed something before they said anything or just stuff like that. But I just chalked it up to I was just very observant.
Hmm.
Maybe I was just really good at predicting it because I was really good at checking behavior.
Yeah.
I don't know. Um,
Interesting.
but then that happened and it was like gates opened. And
Yeah.
then I was like, well, maybe whatever that was, maybe there was something in me that I wasn't aware of. And that's why I was getting some stuff through. But this thing was kind of like I like it like I was a sleeper agent. Like I'm going to activate her now. Because after that, I mean, that's when it started kicking.
That's when you started like seeing more things, hearing
Oh yeah.
things,
I
feeling
mean,
more.
I had a full ass little girl in front of me that I thought was real. I thought she was a real person. I found out I was not the only person who's ever seen her either. There was a man in the same house from the same apparent time frame as the girl.
Hmm.
And those are the two that I've had like
Yeah.
looking right at a fucking body, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Granted, one was in front, the girl was face to face. And she was well, she was like probably 6 or 7 feet from me, but she was close. The man I saw in a mirror behind, like I saw him behind me through a mirror,
Hmm.
and I was backed up against a wall, but he was there.
And they were both full-bodied apparitions.
Yep.
Whoa.
And those were in the
So,
same house.
so that demon that you saw in the car, was that the first thing you'd ever seen? Like,
Yeah, that was the first thing I'd ever seen.
wow,
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is fun. I was
man.
like, well, and at first I was like, do I say something? Do I mention something? But I was like, I'm gonna sound like I'm crazy. And then mom's gonna want to get me exercise, because fuck these religious people. Sorry. I mean, let me rephrase that. Uh yeah, sorry, I don't know how else to put it. But
So,
I didn't
how long after you saw that entity, that the demon? How long after did you see the spirits?
I think I saw the girl the next year. Like it wasn't super active. It was like I saw that like a year later I saw her and
Hmm.
then it was like maybe a couple months later I saw him and then I, got kicked out of my house. So,
I mean, just putting it out there. Do you think it's possible that this thing was like attached to you at that point, or do you think it was gone?
fun fact, I was told by somebody else in the house
Hmm.
that they had seen a large black figure standing over them when they were sleeping. But I never got any more of a description. I don't know if it's the same thing. Is it a generational demon? I don't know. Um, but I don't think it's gone far. I think it's just been here. It's just not needed to use me, I guess.
Hmm.
I don't know what I would have done to tether it,
Yeah.
but because I didn't even do there's no spooky stuff or
Yeah.
anything like that. I wasn't one of those girls that like Ouija boards, or anything like that.
Yeah.
I was religious. I went through it. I did get sexually assaulted. Actually, that probably
Oh,
makes sense. That might be where it came from
what before you saw
or
this
why it
entity?
attached to me.
Oh man.
So,
Oh wow.
because though they say something about negative energy with, teenage girls.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I
Oh
guess that could
man.
be why.
You've had it
I don't know.
tough, man.
Yes,
Wow.
I've had a real fun life, man. Let me tell you.
Oh, but credit to you because you're such an awesome person. So
Thanks.
like you've not let it stand out enough.
Nobody knows. So I always have people all the time that go, if I start talking about like stuff that's happened in my past, they're like, you don't seem at all like that. I was like, oh, I know.
You got good
You're like, yeah. I'm
energy.
like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, I have
But
no
credit to
idea.
you because that's
I'm
tough, man.
pretty fucked up in the head, but I function.
Man.
That's like, what's weird is I didn't used to. I was in a very, 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 very bad place for a long time. And I'm talking from basically demon time, ironically, to I was really not good until actually that second dream, that the dream I had with the kids.
Hmm.
When I woke up, I was different. I mean, I was
Yeah.
still having issues, but I don't know, I can't even explain how or why. I just know that when I woke up was the first time I didn't want to paint the wall with my brains.
Wow.
It
Yeah.
was weird.
So you had to have that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, granted, too, we found out like fast forward because I'm not gonna say it was perfect because I was still a little, had problems. I found out I was bipolar.
Hmm.
So I didn't, but nobody, I tried to get help and they misdiagnosed me and almost killed me first. And then I just quit because I was like, I don't want to feel worse. But it took until I was like 23
Hmm.
before anybody took me seriously and actually helped me. And that just turned everything around. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
credit to you because you got some great energy now. That's for sure.
I'll do what I
Man.
can. You got any more questions? Because like I said, I've got a whole bunch of shit.
Oh, I've got so much more questions.
I walked in front of my camera. Hold on. There we go. Now I'm back to normal.
So obviously now, do you still see? I know you said in your mind's eye you can see the entities and stuff. Are you still seeing things around you now?
I see some, but I don't know if it's because of what it is.
Hmm.
I do lately it's been, or for a while it's been a lot more either feeling like they fucking touch me, which is not okay sometimes because I got one's kind of a creeper,
Hmm.
and or like they'll like blow my hair or like they're very audio driven. I hear them a lot. I hear them on my recordings. I hear them at work. I hear them when I'm in the shower. I hear them when I'm by myself. Like I hear them all the time. They wake me up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody wants to hear mommy at 2:30 in the morning when you
No.
have the kids at home.
No. Oh
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. They like to pull pranks on me.
Yeah.
So we've had to have multiple chats. But it is a lot of like things that I've seen move. I mean, I see them out of the corner of my eye still, but it's not been as much that. It's been more of a feel, or they touch me, or I hear them, or this more. I was trying to listen to my favorite podcast while I was in the shower today, and I turn it on. Everything's fine. I turn the shower on, it's on my phone, and all of a sudden my phone starts sounding warped, like it's underwater, and then started cutting in and out, and it's outside the shower, not near the water. And I was like, oh, come on, guys. It's like, I just want to hear my podcast. And it shuts off. And I was like, seriously? I was like, turn the damn podcast back on. And my phone fell off of the thing it was sitting on and hit the floor.
Whoa.
They're like, nope, we're not listening to that today.
Man.
But I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we won't listen to podcast? That's fine. Whatever you want. And two, like I'll be laying in bed, I got the okay, so I can sleep on the couch and I'll have the TV on and I'll be like, okay, and I know when they're ready to go to bed because I have a tall uh lamp that's next to me on the couch and I'll be watching TV or whatever, and all of a sudden the light will start dimming and then like it'll start flickering. Right around the time, it's like that's them saying we're ready to go to bed. Because if it doesn't flicker and I turn the TV off and put the remote down, it turns itself back on and wants to watch cartoons.
Man.
Like I'll turn it off and I'll set the remote down and then I'll like roll over and the TV comes back on and it's usually on cartoons. And I'm like, one more episode and then we got to go to bed. Okay. And then I'll watch an episode of like, I don't know, Courage the Cowardly Dog or something.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, okay, now we got to go to bed, guys. And then I turn it off, stays off.
Man.
But if I wait for the lights to flicker to be like, hey, it's time to go to bed, like we're okay, then if I turn the TV off, it stays off.
That's wild.
It's
And
weird.
this is a daily thing.
Oh yeah, that happens every single night. My lights. Actually, I'll have to send it to you. I have videos of the lamp doing it
Wow.
because it happens all the time.
Does it? Because I mean, that sounds quite nice. I mean, that's quite like you got
Yeah,
your family
I'm
around
okay.
you. But I
I'm like,
mean,
okay, guys, it's fine.
does it ever scare you though? Does that ever worry you? Like,
No, I mean, I've had the only things that sometimes creep me out is when they touch me. But I
mhm,
know whatever's touching me is not a familiar one.
mhm.
It's not a family thing. I know that it's not that because I can feel ugh. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, but he's a creep. Um, but most of the time it's just whatever. Now I don't like it when they wake me up. The kids really like to wake me up between 2:30 and 3 o'clock in the morning. And I
Hmm.
always know it's them because breathing child does not call me mommy since 3 years ago. Now
Yeah.
he's cool, it's mom. It's
Yeah.
like, bro.
Bro.
But the little ones, they have a different tone in their voice. It does sound like a small, not to mention my kid sounds like this now. He's a man. But the little ones, you can tell that they're just little kids. They have a higher pitched voice and they go, mommy. And there's one, okay, so if you listen to, okay, homework, go find my episode that I did with Chris from Spirit Crew, South Australia. Okay. In that episode, we started talking about paranormal equipment that was a stuffed teddy bear. Right after we start talking, you can hear him. One of the kids is on there saying mommy. You can hear it plain as well. I can hear it plain as day. Sometimes
Yeah.
you gotta listen to it, but it's clearly a kid's voice. But what's freaky about that is you hear mommy, and then right afterwards, you hear a very not happy, not really human voice, like trying
Whoa.
to get him out. Like he was trying to answer the question or talk to me, and something was like, get the fuck out of here. It literally almost sounds like fuck off, is what it sounds like it's saying.
Whoa.
So we had to have a chat. We don't pester the kids or anything.
Man.
Yeah.
I've had that where I've been listening back and I've heard a voice like that that wasn't
Yep.
there when we recorded.
Yep. Yep.
I've
I get
experienced.
EVPs all the time. I've
Man.
had some where they actually talk to me through my headphones while I'm recording, but it's not like as I'm editing,
Hmm.
but it's not on the recording. Like I've had a
Wow.
woman, which I think might be my grandmother, I'm not sure. She died before I mean, my mom was 12 when she died.
Oh wow.
But she's the one that looks like me. That's the witchy side of the family that I'm from. That's her
Hmm.
side that I get it from. And I was listening and I was recording or editing and I was just like blah blah listening to the episode and then it was like shh and then you just hear hello shh and it goes on. I was like I
Wow.
literally go oh hi. I don't know why I just reflex. I was like oh hello and then I realized I was the only one in the house
Yeah.
and I was like whoa whoa whoa, whoa. I said that was clearer than normal. So I went back and played it through. Nothing. It was literally she was just using it just to say hi to me. and then was gone. Like, "Yep, there she goes." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
But you do hear that as well.
hello."
Whatever for whatever reason they can use our technology.
Oh yeah. And I've been walking around and been like, "Hey." And I'm like, "Yeah." And then I hear the and I walk out and I'm like, "Did you say something?" He's like, "No." Like, well, that was weird. I mean, it's very clearly like, "Hey, psst." Like I've had things just nonstop, "Psst, hey, over here, over here." Like just weird stuff. Weird stuff.
Hmm.
And it's all different voices, it's different, all kinds of stuff. And it's just really strange because sometimes I swear I'm like, I don't, because I just respond out of reflex. If I hear hi, I'm like, "Oh, hi."
Yeah.
But sometimes
Yeah.
they're not. We had one, so if you go, this one is not on my show, but it's on my social media. So I think I want to say it's on my Instagram. It's probably the easiest place to find it. Now, I was on a show called Ouch, Was That a Ghost? It's Miss Melissa, Miss Liz. I love her. Oh my God, I love her. And I was recording with her for her show. And it was me. And at the time, I was on a different podcast. So we had a co host. So it was me and mine, and then her and hers. Nobody was it was just us two in my house, those two in her house, nobody else there. Now, the picture on the screen, I want to say it's either green or purple. And I want to say the video is only like 38 seconds long or something. But it says Ouch, Was That a Ghost? And it's a little video that I posted. Hit play, but listen to it till the end because you hear something weird. Now, we had already recorded an episode before that. Nothing happened. We go into the next episode. I hadn't talked yet. Like I was just kind of there. The moment I start covering my topic, boom, motherfucker chimes in. And I'm talking, bless her heart, she was editing at 2:30 in the morning when she heard my microphone have a man's voice saying almost dead. Shit you not.
Whoa.
So you hear it, it's like baby Groot. So we're talking about Groot. We were covering Veggie Man. And it does like this weird morph, but that's not what I'm telling you to listen to. It's after that. And then it sounds like a man going almost dead. And then
Whoa.
that's it. She had it where it separated all the microphones and it was only on mine.
That's wild.
And the crazy thing was when I said I was recording with a co-host, she was sitting a foot and a half next to me with her own microphone that didn't pick anything up. It was only mine.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But I turn my spirit boxes all the time. That's why I do my spirit box sessions. They're all on my Patreon feed. Because I'm
Yeah.
just like, yeah, it's like whatever. I mean, I've been at work in the morning. I get there before everybody else because I got to drop the kid off at school. So I just go to work early. And sometimes I'll turn the box on because I'm like, dude, sounds like something's in here. I was like, I don't know what or who. I said, but there's somebody in here. So I'm like, okay, fine. And I'll just leave the box on till the guys get there
Yeah.
because it creeps them out. So because they've
So,
already heard and seen it.
yeah. What do you think? And it's a difficult question because it's just I like to ask this question. But what do you think is going on with the paranormal? What do you think these spirits are? Where do you think they are? I know that's a very loaded question because it could be a number of different things. But what is your overall thoughts?
I think it's going to differ every time you ask a different person.
Hmm.
Me personally, I don't know. Because let's think about this. I lost all of my kids before they ever came out. Yet when they show up and they can talk to me. They're coherent. They can have a conversation. They know how old they are. And I don't really know how mentally they could have been in a weird, it's not like they were, how do I put that? Like the residual hauntings that they say, where it's like somebody basically something happens so horribly bad to them that they just basically get stuck and they're trapped
Hmm.
and they just keep redoing it, redoing it, redoing it. That doesn't make sense. All of the spirits that I have heard or seen, every single one of them have had their own thing. No, excuse me, good God. Um, Nothing has been like repeat. They've all
Hmm.
been coherent. They've all had their own like mental capacity. They can remember things. And I struggle a lot because I don't know with the shit that's happened to me, I am not the most religious person in the world. We'll put it that way. Um, However, being raised, I always ask questions too because people hate it when I ask this. Because when I talk to anybody who is generally religious, Christian, whatever, any branch of that aspect, I asked them, I said, because technically, if you really look at it, it says that we die and we're buried, but you don't go anywhere until he comes back. If you get technical,
Hmm.
you don't just automatically go to pearly gates. That's not how this works. It says you're there until he comes back and raptures you. Otherwise, what's he gonna do? Pull you out like out of your heaven house and be like, all right, it's time to go. We're gonna send you back down there and pull you back up. I mean, it just doesn't make any logical sense. So from that standpoint, there's got to be something. But at the same time, I don't necessarily with what mind your death experience was that a version of purgatory? Or was it just that my version of wherever I'm going after just wasn't ready and wasn't built yet?
Hmm.
I mean, how many times have you seen a house being built and it's just not ready? So I feel like there's got to be something there because when I feel it, I know who they are. I know what they are. I know that they're human. I know different things. I can tell you if they're happy, if they're sad, whatever.
Hmm.
I'm like, so there's got to be something ingrained inside of us, whether it be your soul or whatever, that has the ability to hang on to that, I guess, so to speak.
Hmm.
And I just feel like most of the ones I have, they've never asked me for anything. They've never had a goal except the one that was trying to fill up my nightgown. That one obviously had a goal. Shut him down real quick. But they've just not. But at the same time, too, if you figure that out and you consider that everybody at least has a soul and you're at least knowledgeable of what's happening, why isn't everybody here? Why can't I hear and talk and see to every? But is it maybe that they're here, they just don't have a reason to talk?
Hmm.
Why do some come across as voices when I clearly can see them if they want me to see them? Why do they talk to me in my dreams? Why do they come visit me in my dreams as opposed to seeing me while I'm awake?
Hmm.
And which leads a lot of people to something about your brain and your sleep cycles and your brain's kicking off and on and whatever. I get that, but I have seen them face to face before. So
Hmm.
why wouldn't they? But then again, I'm like, well, but if it's an energy thing, how do they get more?
Hmm.
They keep
Yeah.
coming. Okay, that was not cool.
What was that?
I don't know, but it felt like something touching my hair. They were doing this yesterday. Something like it feels like something's like flicking my hair. You know what? Fine.
Man.
You'll play that game or turn the fucking lights on. They don't like when the lights are on.
Whoa.
Uh, but it's just something where it's like, okay, then in that case, why don't they want to come out? Why do they? Why?
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, my kids, I mean, they get my attention. I've had twice. Well, the kids once, the other one, I don't know who it was, but someone woke me up from a nightmare. I mean, I was having a horrifying nightmare where when I woke up, I was screaming, like actively screaming. I was drenched in sweat. I was kicking blankets, throwing stuff. My pillows were everywhere. But it was like something had just gone up, just like you would if it was say your spouse on the couch, sleeping on the couch, and you just kind of grab their foot, and just kind of shake it, be like, hey, you need to wake up, sweetie.
Hmm.
Just that is exactly what it was. I was having this nightmare, and it literally was just like grab my foot just enough to shake it and be like, wake up. And I still felt it shaking my foot, like when I was waking up, and then it was gone. It was just enough that like I must have been screaming in my sleep, and it was like, oh God, please stop. And I've had some where I'm having nightmares, and then the kid will be, it sounds like it is right next to where I'm at.
Hmm.
And I say, Mommy, just enough to wake me up, and then it goes away. But it's like, so they do that. I had one wake me up because I fell asleep at work. It saved my ass. I probably would have got fired. And it was like,
there,
and
there, def-
I
there
was like, what?
definitely
And then
seems to
right when I,
be.
yeah, when
Sorry.
I did that, I looked over and my supervisor came around the corner as soon as I woke up.
Oh,
So I was
wow.
like, that ghost got my back.
Yeah, there definitely
But
seems to be a connection between
yeah,
sleep and the spirit world. Like, whatever that is, I don't know, but there does seem to be.
and it's just, I can't figure out that too is how much of it is paranormal and how much of it is, well, would you consider psychic stuff being paranormal
I mean, I guess, yeah, yeah.
or
But
witchy?
it's,
Is witchcraft paranormal? I don't know if I classify it the same.
I don't know, man. I think it's all
How much of
connected.
it is hereditary?
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's like, I mean, there's been witchy stuff in my family for as long as we know,
Hmm.
which would explain the premonition part and the fact that I could siphon people. That's kind of cool.
Hmm. Would you
So
consider yourself a witch now?
they call me a witch. Like literally, the spirits call me a witch. That I've more than one occasion been referred to as the witch.
Yeah.
And then they ask me if I'm scrying when I have my stones out and I'm at like looking, like if I'm like, you guys can come talk to me. Here's
Hmm.
like, and I have stones out. They straight up ask me, they know what it is.
Yeah. Interesting.
And it's I don't I would say from an activity standpoint, no. I do not actively practice anything that would be considered witchcraft,
Hmm.
best of my knowledge. Except one thing, it's kind of a fun party trick. But okay, shit, maybe two things. Damn it. I don't know if that would be considered witchcraft or not. I don't know if that would be witchcraft or not.
Oh, what is it? You got to tell
Maybe.
me now.
So, fun fact. I have two college degrees, one of which is therapeutic and clinical massage therapy, to which I didn't realize that I could do certain things until I started doing that. Um, and I decided I didn't like to do that, so I don't use it. But I found that not only can I walk in a room and know what people are feeling, just, empath stuff, that's just
Hmm.
typical empath stuff. I found out that if you're having a panic attack, or if you hurt your arm, or you're having a bellyache, or whatever, if my skin can touch your skin, and I call it siphoning. I don't really know what else you would call it because I feel like I'm sucking it out of you. But if I do that, and it could just be as simple as I'm just grabbing your arm. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything weird. I mean, I can just grab your arm, and it's literally I can breathe it in, and I can feel it. I can feel the energy like I am taking it, and it's
Hmm.
coming in, and then I kind of circulate it a little, and then I give you some of mine. And when that happens, they always feel better, but whatever they had, I have now for about 2 to 3 hours, and then it kind of dissolves on its own. But it's very
Oh,
uncomfortable.
yeah.
But I have calmed a lot of people down out of panic attacks that way. But
Wow.
I didn't realize it at first until I just thought it was normal. I thought everybody did that. I had no idea that it was something weird. Until my professor, who was very big into energy work and Reiki and all that stuff, um, touched me, like touched my feet for the first time. The moment she put her hands on my feet, she was like, whoa, like literally made the entire class line up and feel my feet because the way she described it was, and everybody else agreed. Like she didn't tell them what it was. She just kept asking to see if anybody else would say it. And every single person that touched my feet or worked on me in general ever, if your skin touched my skin, it was almost like like a low grade electrical pulse, like almost like I have some kind of electric current and you can feel it if you touch me.
Whoa.
Just like, so my party trick that I do a lot is sometimes I have people, this sounds really funny. I have people take the shirts off and I have them lay on their belly where they can't see me. They have to have their head down, they can't see me. And I'll touch their skin once just to kind of connect us, and then I'll take my hands off of them, but I will move them like all in different spots. Like I'll move it to certain spots and hold it, but not touch them. But they swear my hands are on them. They can feel, I can make them feel me, even though I am not touching them.
Wow.
It's really cool. Uh,
And
but
you
it's
and you
really
just
weird.
and you just naturally can do that. Like you've not looked into how you can do that. It's
I
just a
have no
natural
idea
thing.
how I do it. I just know that it happens and I have to focus. But what also kind of sucks is sometimes if you get connected, it's hard to pull that off. So, it makes sex real interesting. To be fair, 'cause again, skin and skin.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've had people that I've dated or been with or whatever, and I'm talking, I can tell you, I have literally known somebody was close to me and they were a 5 minute drive down the road. And I knew where they were. And I hadn't seen them in over a year.
Well,
But I knew
you just
I
felt
could
they
just
were there.
I could just feel them. But because there was something that was now I'm not usually that connected for that long. They're just a special case that I can't I really think that I knew them before,
Hmm.
like past
In
life.
another life. Yeah.
Something's different with them. But I mean, I would just sit there and they'd be like, I'm like, hold on. I'm like, three, two, here he comes. And then he would walk in the door. They're like, how? And I'm like, I don't know. I've done stuff where I've had people, I've been like, here, take my phone. We're gonna play a game. And I'm like, okay. I said, so here's my phone. I said, I'm gonna talk to a person. I'm gonna say, we're gonna ask you some questions. I show everybody the phone. I'm like, see, we're gonna play a game. We're gonna ask questions. Pick a random number. I said, just pick a random person. And they pick a random person. I'm like, okay. So I'm gonna have you ask them a question, and I'm gonna tell you their answer before they answer. And they're like, okay. And I'll be like, I'll just sit there and I'm like, okay. I'm like, they're like, I said, tell them to pick an animal, any animal in the world, any animal. And this one guy sitting there, I'm like, elephant. And they go, what? And I'm like, just elephant. Couple like a minute later, phone chimes. They're like, fuck, it says elephant. And I'm like, okay, let's color. I'm like, let's do a color. And I sit there and they're like, okay. And I'm like, purple. And they're like, what? I'm like, purple. Come like a minute goes by, dings, purple. I was like, they're like,
Man.
like, I don't.
Do you ever
Oh,
get it wrong?
look,
Oh, it's all
hi.
flashing off.
That's my kid's ball. Hi guys.
Man.
But yeah, it's just something that I just kind of do every now and then. I haven't done it in a while.
Hmm.
Um, but or like the other day, I was at work and I just had a set of keys. Actually had like six sets of keys on my desk. And it just so happened that my coworker was out showing somebody a vehicle and I knew what he wanted. And I just boop, boop, unlocked the truck and he just turned and was like,
Man.
he's like, okay. So he's the one that saw the thing in the room.
Yeah.
And so I've been telling him about this. And so I think he's a little weirded out, but he at least understands that
Hmm.
it's a thing. I swore something just growled at me, and I don't think the cats are out here. They should be in there.
Oh, that's not good.
But or another time, I just walked over we had 30 sets of keys hanging on racks. And I just grabbed one and I walked out and as he was walking in and I just tossed the key to him and he was like, what? I was like, just take the key and go. He's like, how did you know? I'm like, I just know, okay. I was like, come on.
That's wild.
Or like my boss will do something, he'll be like, hey, and I'm like, rattle off the answer, and he's like, how did you know what I was weird? I know.
I
There's
mean,
stuff like that. Or
I've had
a lot
that.
of times people will talk and they'll be like, and then like they freeze. And I mean, I am right there with whatever word they're looking for. It's like boom, boom, boom. They're like, how
That's
do you know? I was like,
mad.
I just know.
I've had the whole classic thing where you're thinking of someone that you've not spoke to for a while, and then the phone rings and it's
Yeah,
them, which I
isn't
think
that weird?
a lot of people get that, and I think that's a natural paranormal. It is paranormal,
Yes.
I think, and it's a natural thing that we all seem to have.
Mhm.
Like that, everyone says that. Oh, I was thinking about you, and you've rung me. Like that
Yeah.
happens so often.
Yeah.
And
I've had stuff where I've one day, oh gosh, this is so crazy. So again, hadn't talked to this person forever. And I am always hot all the time. I'm always sweaty. I'm just miserable. I like it being freezing cold, and I'm just always warm. But one day, I was sitting at home, and I mean, I was freezing. I mean, I was so cold. I had on footed, fuzzy pajamas with the thing on. I had fuzzy socks. I had the blanket on, and I was still cold. And I was like, what is happening? I'm like, I'm never cold. And it immediately, I knew. I was like, fuck. So I sent a message and I was like, how's it going? I haven't talked to you in a few months. What's up? Oh, I was busy. I was just in the freezer. I've been working in the freezer all morning. Yeah, I was feeling what they were feeling while they were in there. And the moment they left, I started warming up. And that's whenever I called them or
whoa.
texted them. Yeah. And then another time, I mean, I was by myself and I'm talking, we were like an hour from each other. We weren't even close. And I was just pissed. I don't know, which I mean, I get angry easy anyway, but I was so mad I couldn't figure out why. And immediately, boom, popped in my head again. I'm like, fuck. So I sent a message and I said, are you having a bad day? He's like, how did you know that? Calls me because he's like, okay. He goes, I don't know what's happening. He's like, but literally what happened. So his dog, I guess, had dug out a toy or something, and he had stepped on it and it like stuck into the bottom of his foot. And so he was cussing and just pissed off and pulling this thing out of his foot when the phone went off and it was me. You having a bad day?
That's wild.
And he's like, howdy. I was like, I don't know.
Do you think we're all connected somehow? Like in this world, do you think
I
there's
wouldn't say all of us. I
uh,
think that some of us have connections that were, now I don't know how I feel about past lives per se, because I feel like if that were the case, but we wouldn't all be different. You know what I mean? I feel like that'd be something about that just doesn't jive with me. That we would just be recycling. There would be no ghost because that ghost would be somewhere else, right?
mhm.
Um, but I feel like it's a situation. Maybe you're like a Tommy Point two, you know, or Tommy Point three or whatever. Um, but you recognize each other. So like I've met someone like recently and I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I know that I know them. I know them. They know that they know me. They knew me. We knew each other before we actually ever met each other. The moment we knew each other, it was like, hey, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but I know you. I know I can, it's like I can look and it's like I can see you. Like I can feel you like inside. It's like my inside recognizes your inside kind of situation.
Mhm.
Even though like I know things about you and I'm totally cool, like things that would bother me, but it's like I understand. I understand. I get it. And it's just really
Interesting.
weird because we're both odd. We're both kind of different
Yeah.
and hard for people to understand, yet we very much so understand each other.
This is
Even to
just
the
a friend
point
that you've met.
yeah, even just this friend that I met. And it's like the music we listen to is the same that not very many people listen to that we know. The
Hmm.
movies we like are the same. I mean, down to what's real interesting is down to like symbols. I saw a tattoo that I recognized. And I'm like, I know. Why do I know that? I didn't know why I knew that.
Hmm.
Come to find out, we have the same heritage. We came from the same place.
Wow.
Like DNA tested, we came from the same general area.
Wow. What is that? Somewhere else in the US or
No, it's like Wales, Ireland, Scandinavia. We're basically
interesting?
Viking,
Yeah. I'm
which
a
explains
Viking.
why I'm always hot because I want it to be cold all the time.
Yeah. I've got 6% Norwegian or something in me when I done my ancestry. So I'm a Viking, I like to
I
say.
am all like in one. You have the Wales and the Scandinavia and the Dutch and the Irish. Like I am all like compacted into like that little area.
Hmm.
And even Like just how many people bond over Viking metal music?
Viking
Literally,
metal music.
have you ever listened to Viking metal
I
music?
don't think I have, but I'm gonna.
Oh, dude. Okay, go look it up. I am very much so a Peyton Parrish fan. Oh my God, if I ever met this man, I would probably just die. Um,
Yes.
it's never probably gonna
I didn't
happen.
even
And
know
if
that
he
was a
ever
thing,
hears
to
this
be honest.
episode, oh my God, please shout me.
I didn't know there was Viking metal, to be honest. I really didn't.
This dude does like Viking metal versions of Disney songs.
Hmm.
I mean,
Oh, wow.
oh my God, and they're
I've got
so,
to hear this, man. That sounds
oh,
fascinating.
Peyton Parrish. I think, yeah, yeah.
Send me something. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's just, but it's just stupid stuff like shows that I have been the only person in my entire life that I've ever been like, I'll be like, oh, you want to watch the show? And everybody's like, God, I hate that show or whatever. I've never seen it. And I'm like, but I love it. And then I turned it on the other day, and so I was like, oh, what are you doing? I was like, I'm watching the show. They're like, I love that show. I'm like, really?
That's
I'm like,
wild.
are you sure? They're like, I actually just watched that like a couple days ago. I was like, huh. I was
That's
like, okay,
very interesting
yeah,
because you do meet people in life that, for whatever reason, like you can have friends for years and they're great friends, but then you
mhm,
can meet someone and you can talk to them for an hour and they feel just as great as that friend that you've
yes.
known all your life. Like there's just
What
a
I
connection there.
what I think is crazy is there was one person that I met and we still don't know how. We know for a fact that we did not have conversations, but we both swear we had the conversation, if that makes sense. We know we didn't have it. But like triggers for me that bother me or topics that I don't like to talk about or things that I don't like to whatever, like sounds and stuff, they knew. But we never talked about it. Just like they had things that they had issues with, but I knew that we don't talk about that. We don't want to bring that up.
Interesting.
We don't want, and but we had never actually had the conversation until we had known each other for like a year before we finally were like, we didn't actually talk about that, did we? And we're like, no. And we're like, we just knew.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
You get to a point with someone where you feel like you can start telling them your weird side. You're like,
Oh, you mean
I've
that's
always,
supposed to not happen immediately? Oh shit.
yeah,
Oops,
well, some
sorry.
people do it straight away.
Mine's always been I'd be like, hi, I see ghosts.
I see dead people.
Yeah,
Nice to meet
hello, I
you.
see dead people. Nice to meet you. But yeah, it is something that's very interesting. But then again, that kind of leads me back to how much of that is in fact because our souls have known each other. Or is it just that maybe both of us are sensitive so we can know without actually knowing?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, interesting. Maybe it's a bit of both, but
Yeah.
the fact that your friend that you're talking about that you're from the same place, heritage wise, that's pretty wild as well. That you're
What's
so
really
the
funny is
same.
that we grew up like within 10 minutes from each other, but never met each other.
Man. So
Isn't that weird?
you probably, whenever those ancestors came over to the US, they probably came over together, and you've always sort of
Been
your
together.
ancestry has been together. Yeah, that's so cool.
But I'd really like to know if there's a way to do like I've not done a lot of research into it. I don't know how confident I feel in it, but it would be really cool to do some kind of like regression,
Hmm.
like a past life regression to see if maybe but
Yeah.
it's just there's just something about it that's just so different. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And yeah, it's very
This,
comforting.
yeah, for sure. This world is wild. I mean,
It
there's
is.
no doubt about that. And there's a lot going on around us that is super cool. Scares me a little bit. I know it doesn't scare everyone. But,
Well, I think it scares other people that I talk to too, because sometimes they're like, you don't know me. I'm like, I know you.
yeah, I know what you're
They're like, dude, I'm
thinking.
like, I was like, I probably know you better than you know you. I said,
Oh,
let's be honest here. I said, because I said, what you don't understand is that not only do I know you, I said, I can feel you. And they're like, what? I'm like,
mhm.
I mean, it's like I can feel a piece of your soul. So you might be quiet, you might be timid, whatever. I'm like, but I know that's not who you are.
Yeah.
And what's crazy but I do that with like everybody. So everybody. I mean, I have always had people that tell me they're like, you know what? I have never felt the way this, and not in like a weird dating way, but I've just never felt the way that I feel. Like you bring out something in me that I didn't even know that I had. And I'm like, because I know it's there. I can
Hmm.
feel it. I know it's there. And I can bring it out. It's like, why don't we do this? Like, I'm like, oh, come on. I'm like, so sometimes I gotta work on it. You'll get boost your
Yeah.
confidence, and stuff. But it's just, I just know. I don't know. And some people they get a little whatever, they're comfortable. I make everybody comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, they make you
That's
really
awesome.
uncomfortable or very comfortable. There's really
Well,
not in between.
you're very
Uh,
easy to talk to, that's for sure.
yeah.
And you got good energy. And yeah. I've loved talking to you tonight. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you.
I hope this is the first of many conversations because I feel like there's more we
I
can talk
concur.
about.
Well, and
100%.
every day it just grows. So, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, that's it.
there's at least that going for me.
We've had a little bit of activity go on around us. Not too much tonight,
Now
but
I'm gonna do, yeah, we did have a couple. So we actually had the one sensor went off before we recorded,
yes, yeah.
and then it came back while we were recording, and then the kids' ball went off earlier.
Hmm.
So I mean,
Sh Should we do a quick call out before just to see if
we
anyone
could
wants to?
try.
Shall we?
You want me to turn my box on?
Yeah, if you don't mind, let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll just see if the because we
Let's
did
see.
this last time we spoke.
Yeah, I'll have to turn my lights down because they don't like when the lights are on. They get pissed off.
See if we can get any
Hold on, my app's a little fuzzy because, well, I'm running a little low on rum.
yeah, it's cool, that's cool.
All right, let's see what we got here. Weird. Normally it says there's like 1,600 words downloaded, and this time it only gave me, that's really weird.
How
It only
many?
gave me like 700. Wonder if I could turn my other one on. Hello? Take note.
Take note. I've got
All
my
right, wait a
pen.
minute. Oh my gosh, it's literally, I put the phone on top of my notepad with my pencil.
Oh
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I was like, oh, like it's literally right here on my, it's just like this on my pad.
man.
Hello?
My dad.
My death. Okay.
Oh, that's not good.
Whose death? Can you talk to me? See, now this one's got like 1,600 words on it. All right, we're gonna do it this way. Dual phone in it.
What was that? Was that something?
Oh, my dog's barking.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say.
Sorry. All right, you guys know the drill. Talk to me, baby.
Are they gonna come out to? Oh, there we
Heart.
go.
Plausible.
Plausible. We turned the camera on.
Oh,
I thought my camera was off. I thought my camera was off. It goes, no.
oh man.
Okay. The other one said it didn't know. Chocolate? Where is there chocolate? Oh my God, I am burning hot chocolate candles.
Oh,
Okay, that's probably
that's
where the chocolate came from.
that's weird.
Do you like the smell of the chocolate candles? Chatty Cathy?
Do they ever not respond when you do stuff like this?
Sometimes, but not very often. Usually there's at least something in here hanging out. It does smell like chocolate in here, though. That is a good point. I'm kind of hungry. Go.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
Console.
Oh,
Console.
I'm not sure.
Console.
As in like a PlayStation?
Yeah, that's kind of what it. Well, unless it thinks that my Cricut printer that I got is a console. That's not a console, honey. It's a printer. It does kind of look like a console. I got one of the big ones. Let's see here.
I remember last time we spoke because we finished recording and then we done this and it was just going off. Lights
Yeah.
were going off in the background and that was
Does
shouting.
anybody want to say hi? I have two things you can talk into, and you guys already know about the balls because somebody's already been using them.
Oh, if it goes off now, I'm going to freak out.
I just realized I was like frozen. What is that? What is what, honey?
Loss.
Loss. Well, we did talk about a lot of loss today.
Do you do this
Can you
when
tell
you're
me?
on your own? Do you ever do this on your own?
Oh yeah, I do it all the time.
You
It's on
said
my
you did.
Patreon
Yeah.
feed.
Yeah.
Only one tier gets to see them though,
Okay.
because I can. Book? Which book? I've got a few books in here. I just put a couple up today, so. Can you tell me what your name is? What's it?
Jewelry. Are you frightened?
No, I am not frightened. I do have my jewelry on. Is that why you're telling me you can't do anything with me?
I'm frightened.
Okay, Tommy's a pussy,
I
but I'm not
am.
frightened.
Oh,
What? Not. No, I'm not.
I see
okay. Okay. That freaked me right
You can
out.
see us. We're right
Oh
here.
my gosh. Natasha, I don't know how you do this regularly.
Oh my God, you didn't get that one, did you? So
I,
it was like
I
over here,
just.
that same voice is.
you. Stop.
Oh, did you say stop recording? No. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm freaking out.
So we
Oh,
have
oh, it all goes
one said,
bumping.
I can see you. The other said, in the dark.
And then he said stop
And
recording.
this is stop recording.
Oh my gosh.
Boat.
Right,
And
I'm
then
freaked out. I'm officially freaked out.
this
Can we
one says, this is strange.
Yeah. Right, Natasha, can you
Whoa,
tell
okay. Yeah,
that
sorry. All
that
right. I think we need to exit.
that scared me. That voice when he said stop recording, or what did he say before that? He said something else. And it was very weird. Like a very, is that like a British voice as
I
well?
see you.
I see you. Yeah.
I see you. And then this one said, in the dark.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's okay.
It's okay, because I mean, like, something's definitely chilling in here.
Oh, that gave me
Thank you.
goosebumps as well.
That
Yeah.
was a little bit of a nauseous and a little lightheaded. So,
Whoa. Well, thanks for doing that though.
oh, no problem.
I sort of like I felt like
Oh,
it was
oh, disclaimer. No, this isn't
yeah.
for you. Nobody is allowed to stay with Tommy. You have to stay in the studio.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
Understood? You're
Yeah.
not going in the house. You got to stay in the studio.
I've got enough things going on here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
what they say?
bribed. It said I bribed it.
Oh man. Natasha, I've loved talking to you tonight. Thank you.
It's
Thank
so
you
fun.
so much. First of many well, we've spoke already, but I want you back on Let's Get Freaky
Oh,
because
definitely.
we can talk again. Can you tell the listeners where they can find you?
Oh, yeah. I guess they probably need to know that. I forgot that everybody just knows things, right? Um, all right. So, as far as listening, I am literally everywhere you can find a podcast, even places that I didn't even know existed apparently showed up on my chartable thing. So, the basics, Spotify, Spreaker, Apple, iHeart, whatever. I'm everywhere. I've also got YouTube that you can listen to. And then I have my episodes on the Patreon feed. So my videos are on the Patreon. So it's patreon.com/cryptids, creeps, and conspiracy. And that's where all my video ones are. And all my videos are completely unedited. So you see the good, the bad, the ugly, and occasional weird shit. Both visible and non. But there's that. I also have Instagram, I've got TikTok, I've got Threads, I've got Facebook, I've got X, I've got pretty much Everything except Tumblr. I don't know what Tumblr is.
I don't know what that is either.
I don't know either, but it showed up on my thing. So I don't have it. But yeah, I do have www.cryptidscreepsandconspiracy.com. All my Linktree links have all that stuff on there. So I would encourage everybody, if you have anything weird that's happened, whether it is alien or creature or lovely invisible people talking to you or throwing your phones in the bathroom or anything like that, feel free to put them in there because I like to, one, listen to them, and I try to do listener episodes. So please, 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 if you would be so kind as to send them over. All I ask is one, you give me permission to tell me whether or not it's okay for me to read it. And two, you let me know if you want me to make you a funny alias or your real name, because I don't want to out anybody that doesn't want to be outed. So confidentiality is key, but feel free to do that. Otherwise, I'm
Awesome.
here. Suck us.
Awesome. I will share the links. The links will be in the show description. Thank you so much. This I'd love to get you back
Great.
on soon. We can talk more. Guys, thank you so much for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode, share it where you can. That's a great way to support us. Give us both 5 stars
Yeah.
wherever you listen to podcasts, because that does help us out. So thank you, Natasha. Let's do this again soon.
Definitely.
Keep it freaky. Bye for now, guys. Peace.
Yeah.